I'm back, students, and now I solve the question number 3 of exercise 1.1. Your question is, prove that the greatest integer function f from r to r given by fx equal to box x is neither 1 1 nor on 2, where this denote boxes, I just read it as box x, denotes the greatest integer less than or equal to x. So what is your question? Your question is, the function is defined from r to r, the set of real number to set of real number, and it is defined by fx equal to box x. You have to know what is your definition of greatest integer function. Do you remember the definition of greatest integer function? Okay, let me recall the definition. I'll show you. See, what is your greatest integer function? Greatest integer function is defined within square bracket. You have to write down x, and this x is any real number. Okay, so if x is any real number, greatest integer function is defined within square bracket x, and here I am taking f is a function from r to r. So what does it mean? It represents the greatest integer not exceeding x. Represent the greatest integer not exceeding x means the answer of box x is an integer. Okay, whatever the number, real number present inside this box, your answer will be always an integer. And what type of integer? That is not exceeding x. You see, not exceeding x means less than or equal to x. I'm just giving you an example. You see what is here? Suppose 1 is there, your answer will be 1 because 1 is an integer. If it's an integer, the numbers remains as it is. That means x remains as it is. Here 0 is also an integer, so within box 0 is equal to 0. Minus 2 is also an integer, so box minus 2 is equal to, or the greatest integer function minus 2 equal to 2. Now we see, go to 1.2. Is 1.2 is an integer? No, it's a real number, right? So here you see 1.2 lies between 1 and 2. Okay, 1.2, if you plus in the number line, then 1.2 will lies between 1 and 2. Here you see, since 2 on the right of this 1.2, so obviously 2 will be more than 1.2. That is again, without putting in number line also, you can say that 2 is more than 1.2 and 1 is less than 1.2, right? Now you see 0 is also less than 1.2, is not it? Minus 1 is also less than 1.2, is it or not? Like that, any negative number is less than 1.2. So then, why your answer is 1? Out of all those integers, your integer will be the greatest integer, not exceeding x. It cannot exceed 1.2, but out of all those numbers which will not exceed 1.2 are what? 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and so on. So out of all those numbers, 1 is the greatest. So 1.2 answer is equal to 1. Same here. If you consider a number as 1.9, again 1.9 is what? Greater than 1 but less than 2. That means the nearest integer of 1.9 is 1 or 2. Out of that, 2 is more than 1.9. So your answer will be what? 1, because 1 is less than 1.9, and which is the greatest integer not exceeding x. Your x is 1.9 in this case, right? Same way, whatever the number of digit you take in after decimal, here I am taking 1.798, any example you can take. This is also lies between 1 and 2. So here also the answer is 1. So here you see 1.1, if I draw the diagram, 1.1 goes to 1, 1.2 goes to 1, like that infinitely many real numbers lies between 1 and 2. All those will goes to what? 1. So from the diagram also it is clear that the function is not what? Not on 2. Is this, is not 1, 1. Is the function on 2? Let us check it. Here you see, here I'll give you some more examples. Before that, just see here. Half lies between what? 0 and 1. So out of that, 0 is smaller than half. So your answer is 0. Now minus half. If I convert it into point, it will be minus 0.5. So minus 0.5 lies between what? 0 and minus 1. But 0 is greater than minus 0.5. So your answer is minus 1. Same is true here. If I take minus 1.2, minus 1.2. On the right of minus 1.2, you have minus 1. On the left of minus 1.2, you have minus 2. That means minus 1.2 lies between minus 1 and minus 2. So since minus 1 is more than minus 1.2, so your answer is minus 2, and so on you can give. So our question actually, this, I hope you understand what is greatest integer function. Okay, now you see, your question is what? You have to show it that greatest integer function is neither 1, 1 nor onto. Obviously, it is not 1, 1, because you see 1.1 goes to 1, 1.2 goes to 1. Here also I have seen 1.798 also goes to 1. That means infinitely many elements, real numbers are there, which will goes to 1. So the function is not 1, 1. That is, it is sufficient to give an example. Just to give an example. Okay. Now you see, is the function onto? You see, in the case of greatest integer function, the answers are always integers. 1, 0, 2, minus 1 and so on. All these are integers. But real numbers contain infinitely many points other than integer. Right? So all those which are not integer, like that suppose 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 and so on, will not have any preimage. Okay? That's why the function is not onto also. I hope you understand the question. Let us go to the solution now. Here, this is your question. Now the solution I am giving, since it is neither 1, 1 nor onto, so it is sufficient to give an example here. Okay. So you see here. I'm just writing here f is a function from R to R. This is given by fx equal to within square bracket x means greatest integer function. Since it is not 1, 1, so I'm taking two element real number such that their images are equal. So I'm taking here 1.2. By definition, it will be within square bracket 1.2. That means greatest integer function 1.2. The answer will be equal to what? It's an integer, so 1. Similarly, I take here f of 1.9. That means box of 1.9. It is again the value is equal to what? 1. So we have seen it that the image of f of 1.1 and f of 1.9 are same. These are same. But 1.2 is not equal to 1.9. So preimages are different. That means not different element has the same image. So the function is not 1, 1. Now consider here any point. I'm just giving an example here. Consider 0.7 belongs to 0.7 belongs to R. It is known that fx equal to within square bracket x. It's always an integer. Thus, there does not exist any element x in R such that fx equal to 0.7. Will you get the f of 0.7 is the image of any number, any x? No. So here, this has no preimage. Or instead of writing all these things, this and this line, you can simply write down this way. Except the integers, no real number has preimage, so it is not onto. Okay, onto you can write down by giving this example. Here we have included infinitely many examples. So here we have seen what? F is not onto. Hence your answer, the greatest integer function is neither 1, 1 nor onto. Thank you.